In this presentation, we're going to be explaining how to prepare a sunny side up egg. Introduction. Before we outline the steps to prepare sunny side up eggs, let us introduce what it is. Sunny side up eggs are eggs prepared in such a way that the egg yolk stays runny, but the white of the egg is fully cooked. Materials. To prepare a sunny side up egg, you need ingredients and kitchen materials. The ingredients comprise of eggs, cooking oil or butter, salt or ground pepper, which are both optional. The kitchen materials comprise of a spatula, a skillet, and a plate. Warnings. Before you proceed to prepare your sunny side up egg, you have to be careful about two things. Number one, watch out for splashing oil. You can achieve this by using a spatula that has a long handle. Number two, cook with precaution to avoid burns from a hot skillet. You can achieve this by only handling the skillet by its perfectly insulated rubber handle. Steps outline. These are the 7 steps for cooking a sunny side up egg. First, we begin with the mise en place, which is setting up your cooking area. Then you proceed with the second step, which is heating the oil. And third step, which is cracking the egg. The following step is cooking the egg. And then basting the egg, which is then followed by removing the egg. And finally, we end by garnishing the egg.
Step 1. Mise en place. Before you start to cook, you should organize your necessary kitchen equipment in front of you to make the cooking process run as smoothly as possible. This is called a mise en place. But be careful, you should avoid leaving your equipment too close to heat sources to avoid damaging them. Step 2. Heating the oil or butter. On the second step, the actual cooking process begins. You'll need a pan, oil or butter, and a spatula. If you're using oil, you should heat it by setting the temperature of your stove to medium or medium-high. A medium-high temperature will create a crispier bottom. Next, place your pan on the oven top. You should leave the pan to heat up for 5 minutes. Then, add the oil or butter and heat for another 5 minutes. The purpose of adding the oil or butter is to grease up the pan's surface to prevent the egg from sticking to the bottom. So, as the oil heats up, you should swirl the oil around to cover the entire area. If you're greasing your pan with butter instead of oil, it is preferable to cook at a medium temperature instead of medium-high because butter tends to burn faster than oil. The picture on the right shows butter that is slightly overcooked. Try to keep the butter a lighter color as shown on the left. To avoid browning the butter, whisk it using your spatula while keeping a close eye on it as it melts. It is also preferable to have your eggs already cracked and close by. From this step onwards, be careful to not touch the surface of the pan because it will be very hot. Step 3. Cracking the egg. For step 3, you'll need your egg, a hard surface, and a bowl. While the oil is heating up, crack your egg by hitting it against a rough surface, such as a kitchen counter, and use your hands to deposit the raw egg inside a bowl. For this step, be careful to not break the egg yolk, otherwise it'll harden as you heat it up. During this step, it's important to avoid getting pieces of the shell mixed into the raw egg because your finalized dish would be unpleasant to eat. Many precautions can be used to prevent this misstep. Firstly, do not crack the egg against the rim of the bowl where you'll put your raw egg. Secondly, do not crack the egg directly inside the pan.
Cooking the egg. Using the bowl, drop the egg onto the hot pan. Do not drop the egg from afar as the yolk may break and the hot oil could splatter. Depending on the size of your pan, you can add multiple eggs at a time, being careful not to overlap the whites. You should let the egg cook for about 2 to 3 minutes. Also note that the longer it cooks, the crispier it will become. Baste the egg. Using a tablespoon, scoop up some of the hot oil. If you're having difficulty, lift the pan and give it a slight tilt so that the oil pools on one end but your eggs remain stationary. Be careful not to spill any hot oil and be aware that oil can splatter as it moves around in the pan. Next, pour your collected oil atop your egg whites. Do not pour any on the yolks as this will overcook them. Removing the egg. When your egg has reached your desired consistency, slide your spatula under it and place it on a plate. During this step, be careful not to poke a hole in the yolk of your egg. If you have any trouble getting under the egg, give the spatula a couple quick thrusts to help push through any areas stuck to the pan. Garnishing the egg. Once your egg is plated, feel free to add some salt and pepper to taste. It is also common practice to prepare a piece of toast bread to dip in the runny yolk. If you're feeling bold, you can also try adding some jam or peanut butter to the top of your egg whites or on your bread. Quick recap. Preparing a sunny side up egg involves 6 steps: heating the oil, cracking the egg, cooking the egg, basting the egg, removing the egg, and garnishing the egg. Once these steps are done, you have prepared yourself a delicious, unique-looking egg. If you wish to prepare more than one egg, repeat the process for each egg or place multiple eggs in the same pan, being careful not to overlap their whites. Also, always remember to be careful when working with hot oil to avoid burns and/or kitchen fires.